My T cell count has gone down, and I notice it goes down when I'm under stress or I'm feeling particularly put upon. So I've learned how to deal with handling some of that stress, and some of it comes through chanting from Buddhism. But I've learned also that I can bring up that kind of T cell count by really closely monitoring what I take, and how I feel.
I go to a Chinese doctor. I have 2 Chinese doctors. I practice Chinese medicine, but more than just the herbs. It's Tai Chi, Qigong. These are all things that deal with energy, the manipulation of energy in the body. You have control over your body. I mean, that's been proven for thousands of years, you know. Acupuncture, chiropractics, I swim, I rollerblade, I'm alive, for Christ's sake. We are alive, and that is what has to be instilled in people that are, especially when they first get their diagnosis.
And I study the scriptures, and I you know, don't allow my mind to be dictated by other people's thoughts. I rarely watch TV. I don't read the newspaper. You know, I study the scriptures, and I study spiritual things, and that's what I think is important. And I think it's very important for us to come back in contact with just the natural order of things.
Talking about this visualization, you know, they know down to a scientific certainty that your receptor cells and neuropeptides are getting all screwed up with every bad thought you have. And that's going to bring everything down too. So meditation, I do it half an hour every morning, and I'm trying to get it to half an hour every night also. And it's at least 50% of the battle is your thought process, I'm sure.
What I've found in my work with groups of people with HIV is nobody's at any given moment strong and continually, people are at given moments strong, but nobody's perpetually inspired. Nobody's perpetually an energy source. In the groups that I lead, the HIV groups, the therapy groups, the people that are weak one week might be totally inspired the next. And we need to allow for all the different states of mind that come on with this. And there's no substitute in my work for the comfort and the steadiness and the inspiration that comes from an ongoing meditative practice, through accessing one's own stillness inside, through accessing one's own spirit.
I believe spirituality has a major part to play in my health, and I believe my emotional state has a great deal to play in my health. And I always felt that I wanted to express this to my friends who didn't have to die.
The only people I see getting well with alternatives are those who can laugh, know God, personally know God, and ask for help.
We're not in a position any longer where people are taking into account that it's their own bodies and that they should make a pact with their physician to do whatever it is that's necessary. And if that means that you feel that you want to do acupuncture or you want to do vitamin C drip or ozone or hyperthermia or whatever, that you should be allowed to do it. Unfortunately, the way things are set up, we don't allow that.
I would love to get peptide T. I would like to take it subcutaneously. I would love to do it like that because I saw a friend of mine that passed away, how it helped her, and then she couldn't get access to it. I mean, I can't go to a doctor to get vitamin C. I have to get it through the underground. And this is, you know, there are certain people that give it, but you have to pay it out of your pocket. I mean, I take shark cartilage and other stuff, so it's hard for me to afford.
In spite of the fact that out in the field, in small clinics all over the country and indeed around the world, people are finding methods of survival, of improving quality of life, extending the length of life, stopping opportunistic infections, and they're doing it using a variety of approaches, many of which are non-toxic, minimally toxic, that use natural medicine, and that use some strategically placed conventional drugs. But all of those approaches, because they tend not to be the high-profit drugs, they're not getting federal research, and of course they're not getting private pharmaceutical money being put into them, and therefore we don't have this knowledge being systematized and spread out to the general public through the medical community.
With AIDS, bitter melon is something that the AIDS community is extremely interested in. What is the role of garlic? What is the role of particular herbs and spices? And so I would love to see this studied, even though perhaps there's not an enormous profit motive to do this. I think that's one of the things that we want to do more and more, and we want to be an advocate for this kind of change.
Well, I am a person living with HIV, living with AIDS, and probably for almost 10 years. And during the great majority of that time, I have used supplements and alternative treatments to help stabilize my position. This is verifiable by my blood results. And the proposition of having these alternative therapies taken away from us or extremely limited or relegated to prescription is a very sorry situation.
Insurance does not cover alternative treatments. Chinese medicine is cash, you know. You have to have ready cash. It's not that expensive, Chinese treatment, but there are alternatives. H2O2 therapies, hydrogen peroxide, where they want $2,500 up front. No one has that kind of money. And insurance is not going to pay for that.
It was very interesting. My poverty at the time, as far as not having any health insurance, saved me, because I told them I couldn't afford AZT at the time, which was going for about $8,000 a year. I had no health insurance, and I heard that there were some side effects, and I really didn't want to go on this program.
When you go to the holistic approach, if you go to the right place, you always get the correct answer. And again, there's a way to do things at a more affordable way. So yes, it can be done. We are doing it.
We need to make the government and the insurance industry responsive that anything we deem is good for us, we should have them pay for. What good is insurance if it only pays for medicines that'll hurt you?
The media has consistently parroted the voice of the industry that is behind the treatment of AIDS, saying HIV equals AIDS equals death. As a result, some people who have just merely tested positive for the antibodies have felt their life devastated. Some have committed suicide. And many of these individuals have been socially ostracized with a great deal of prejudice.
Well, I was told I was going to die, and psychologically, it was almost like voodoo. They told me I was going to die, and I believed it.
We've all been told that this is a death sentence to us, and as a result of that, what's going to make the cover of Time is going to be the person who finds the quote-unquote magic drug that's going to cure AIDS, and I don't think we're ever going to see that.
This is a glimpse of our future, just the first sign of maybe looking at us who survive and why. The media does that, we know, for sensationalism. That's what sells papers. I mean, mankind as a race is more fascinated with death and war and destruction than he is with peace, happiness, tranquility. I mean, that's not fashionable.
What keeps me alive is staying angry at the people that want to see us die. So, and I've seen a lot of my friends die, and I've been talking about it for a long time, about AZT kills you, and a lot of them are. They passed away.
This is what really needs to be stressed, that there's no hope, that nutrition doesn't matter, that community doesn't matter, that spirit doesn't matter, is a tragic mistake. And in fact, there are so many instances of individuals finding their own grit. As Viktor Frankl said, that he saw that in concentration camps, as soon as a person became apathetic, they were dead. The survivors of concentration camps never yielded to apathy. And that's the situation we're in now.